year in boxing, 2008, very interesting year. We saw Paul Williams continue to dominate. We saw, you know, the third match, the rubber match between Israel Vazquez and Rafael Marquez, the greatest trilogy I've ever seen. Definitely, and I think, for sure, do you think historically that could be the best trilogy ever?
I don't know if it'll be the best, because I think that there are a lot of people that don't know who those two guys are.
Right.
But boxing purists will probably say that it's one of the, you know, one of the best of, certainly one of the best of our era of seeing boxing. Obviously you got Frazier, Ali, but yeah, certainly one of the best. But you know, they're not household names, and that's that's the problem with making that, you know, that notation. But yeah, I mean, for boxing purists, people who've seen these guys fight, and I thought the sick thing was that they were trying to, or they are going to do a fourth.
Oh, that's sadist.
Yeah, I think that's really sick. And the thing is, you know, think about this: those guys have been in the ring against each other 3 times and have put on absolute wars, and they didn't even get combined. Their purses weren't even what Oscar was guaranteed for his fight against Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, that's.
I mean, that really puts things in perspective for you in terms of, you know, the haves and the have-nots of boxing in relationship to the types of shows that they put on.
It's funny. I think they have to fight each other, because if they fight different opponents, each of them,
yeah,
those opponents will, of course, exploit their weaknesses, because their weaknesses were shown as well as their strengths during those wars, number one. And number two, they went to the well, like, you know, the energy and the heart and will that they gave you know, even effort. So now if they fight someone else, each of them, it could be bad for them. It's a shame they could, and they maybe have to fight each other for their careers to be longer, a little longer.
Yeah, you may be right. I mean, it may be that together, you know, they make something, and apart they don't make, you know, very much of what they have. But you know, I really like, but I really like Marquez anyway. I mean,
he's a brilliant fighter.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the pound for pound best. So
that's right.
You know, I really like his work in the ring.
That's right, and I felt he won the third fight. I felt he won that.
Yeah, I thought he won the third fight as well.
You know, definitely that knockdowns by Vazquez, you know, helped him out, but Rafi was in the middle rounds. Ooh, he was giving him a boxing clinic. You know, definitely. And talk about, like, Margarito Cotto. You know, Antonio Margarito looks like he's going on to fight Shane Mosley on the 24th of January. They're able to come up with terms. Talk about, like, Margarito's victory over Cotto, what it meant to his career and the welterweight division, and then how tough can his fight be against Shane Mosley stylistically?
I think, well, I'm going to take the first part of that first. Antonio Margarito really stepped forward in the welterweight division. You know, they had called him the most feared, or Bob Arum of Top Rank Boxing, they called him the most feared man in boxing, you know, with that, that crazy offer to Floyd Mayweather Jr. Because they said that Floyd turned down the fight because he was afraid of him. Actually, Floyd turned down the fight because there were bigger fish to fry, and, you know, pay-per-view, more recognizable fights with Oscar De La Hoya and with Ricky Hatton. But he really stepped forward. I mean, I think the only guy out there that's a real threat to him at this point is obviously the guy that he lost to, Paul Williams, and I think that's why he avoids Paul Williams like the flu.
Exactly.
But, you know, having said that, that's the rematch that's not going to be made. That's the one that should be made at this point in time. But, you know, Williams obviously has moved up. He's got that interim 154-pound title.
Right.
So, you know, he's looking at bigger things because he can't find anybody at welterweight that's going to fight him, so he's going to move up. But, you know, the Margarito is now the king of 147 now that Floyd's retired. You know, the fight with Miguel Cotto, whom I still think is a great fighter. He just ran into a better man that night. And that's not to say that, you know, when they have the rematch that, you know, he won't get the best of Margarito in that fight. I really thought the busted nose hurt him because I think he got, so concerned with that, it just sort of zapped his energy.
Right.
And he was fighting a very good fight. He was outboxing Margarito, but then it was just, Margarito's thing is he gets stronger and he throws more punches as the fight goes on, but you could just see the deterioration in Miguel Cotto as the fight went on. Sort of basically what he had done to Paulie Malignaggi when he fought him.
Right.
But I think that stylistically, the fight with Shane Mosley is going to be a different kind of fight for Margarito, because Shane still has speed, still has good reflexes, still has good leg movement, and I think if pushed, Shane will be able to match the output. I think if you push him, I think Shane can. And you look at when Shane fought Miguel Cotto, that was a very close fight. And I think the only problem that I see Shane having, and it's the same problem that Shane has always had, he does not do well against taller guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Vernon Forrest, you look at Winky Wright. Those are the guys that he lost to, and they were all taller than he was. He really has trouble getting inside of the long reach and everything. I think that's the one problem that he's going to have that's going to manifest itself in that particular fight.
That's a great point. But you know what's really interesting about Margarito? He sometimes doesn't fight tall.
Yeah.
Which is a great...
And neither did, you know what, again, I don't mean to digress, but neither did Oscar. Did you notice how Oscar fought short, from the fourth round on?
Right.
He crouched down and he got right into Manny's wheelhouse because Manny was having trouble reaching him in the first 3 rounds or so.
He was. It was just one at a time, straight left hands. He was scoring, but he wasn't able to throw combinations.
Right.
Right.
And then he crouched down, and I didn't understand that. And then he crouched down and he got right in Manny's wheelhouse, and that's when most of the damage was done to the body. And that's when, he was, like you're saying, that Manny was able to land a lot of combinations. But we don't want to digress. We want to move forward.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I understand that. And one more thing about Shane Mosley. He's used to fighting tough Mexican, Southern California fighters for 25 years. That's all he sparred.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Vernon Forrest and Winky Wright, both those guys, they're tall, slick boxers,
right.
that use their height and use their size. So it's funny. I think Shane, he has one more fight left in him, and it's going to be tough for Margarito. I think it'll be a split decision Margarito, though, but it'll be close.
Okay, you're looking split decision.
It'll be very interesting, and I think they'll give we don't know who will benefit more. Whoever wins, who will benefit, but it'll be interesting. But Shane, I give Shane a chance, definitely, especially having Cotto running around for the last 4 rounds. Remember that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he hit Cotto with something he didn't like.
Yeah.
That's for sure.